Now that you have seen how easy it can be to create a basic platformer in Construct, you might be wondering whether or not it has enough depth for the development of more complex games. I would say the answer is yes. I have personally not found too many things regarding 2D games that you could not do with Construct. It comes with a wide range of ready-made behaviors, effects, events and actions that allow you to create extremely complex interactions. On top of that, it has a very capable expression system that allows you to write small code snippets in order to further customize your interactions. It supports things like arrays and dictionaries, all kinds of loops, it can do Ajax, and you can write custom CSS. You can also use web storage to save things on the user's computer. It lets you take input from the keyboard and the mouse, touch devices and gamepads, and you can even get geolocation information and user media from mobile devices. It has well-working physics engines for those Angry Bird type of games, and it even has some multiplayer functionality. Finally, I should mention that you can even write your own plugins and behaviors from scratch by using the JavaScript SDK for Construct. That means that there really aren't too many limits on what you can do with Construct 2. Another objection people sometimes voice is that you are not really coding the games yourself because you are using Construct to handle the syntax instead of some text editor, for example. To me, that's like saying that you are not using your computer correctly if you are using a modern graphical user interface like Windows or OS X instead of a text-based command line tool. I would argue that most of us enjoy using a graphical user interface because it makes things simpler, easier to understand, and more intuitive. I think the important part about coding is the logic you're creating, and that logic doesn't change much between Construct and other ways of coding. It's just the syntax or the grammar of the coding language that is a bit different. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. If I wanted to create a variable with, say, JavaScript, I might type in var followed by the variable name and an equal sign and the value I wanted to assign to that variable. And I should remember to end the statement with a semicolon. Inside Construct, I might create a variable by right-clicking and choosing New Global Variable, and then giving it a name and a value. If I needed to create a conditional statement in JavaScript, it might look something like this. If, open parentheses, player.x is less than 10, close parentheses, open curly bracket, player.x plus equals 5, semicolon, close curly bracket. So this statement is basically asking if the x location of our player object is less than 10, and if that's the case, then it's going to add 5 to the x location, to the x coordinate of the player object. In Construct, we would add a condition for our player object to compare its x value and then add an action that would increase it by 5. Can you see my point, how we're essentially doing the same thing here, but only with slightly different tools? The part in which Construct really shines is that it makes it really difficult to make small mistakes in syntax. When I'm writing JavaScript, I'm often doing these small typos here and there, and then troubleshooting my code, wondering why it's not working. So maybe I simply forgot to add an end bracket to a function somewhere, and everything just stopped working. Construct is essentially really good at not allowing you to make those syntax errors. You can still use bad logic, of course, but that's something you need to learn to avoid in any coding platform. So the bottom line is, Construct is an extremely capable game creator, and it allows you to create complex code while helping you to avoid syntax mistakes. I think that makes it the perfect tool for getting started with game development.